All right, everybody, thanks for coming out for the Lowdown on Ridertown with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders and 94.1 KRNA. This actually is our final show of the season. Hard to believe we started this show back, I think, the third week of January, and now here we are at the second Wednesday of April, and we're wrapping things up. We have some playoff action to talk about with postseason play coming up, and then what we usually do, getting to know the players and kind of recapping some of the games that have been played. It's been fun throughout the year to get to know the players. We've had several different players on from the team throughout the basically 2.5 months we've done this show. And all the podcasts, all the previous ones that we've done all this year, you can find those at krna.com and also through our Facebook page. So if you want to kind of catch up on shows throughout the season, you can get those. And this one of the final broadcast, that will be posted up in the next couple of days. We usually always have them up by the weekend. Today on this final show, I'm joined as always by Coach Mark Carlson, but also by players Casey Jerry and Logan Von Ruden. And we'll start like we usually do by running down some of the recent action for the Rough Riders. It's been 2 weeks since we've had this show, since the Riders were in action last Wednesday night at the stable. So we've had a few games take place between that point and right now. So we'll run down those real quick. March 27th, a 7-2 win over Waterloo. That was at the stable. Then we have March 28th. That's a 4-1 loss up at Dubuque. April 1st, last Wednesday, a 4-3 win at home over Lincoln. April 3rd, a 6-3 loss over in Omaha, and then April 4th, this past Saturday, a 4-1 loss over at Tri-City. Now that leaves the Rough Riders at 38-20, 76 points overall, good for second place still in the Eastern Conference, and that playoff berth has been clinched. We mentioned that a few weeks ago. Coach, about 2 weeks since we've last talked, but your thoughts on some of the action that's transpired between that point and right now?
Well, I think the last game we played there was in Tri-City. I thought it was a real good hockey game. Two teams getting up and down the rink there. I thought we had a lot of real good chances, just didn't capitalize enough. And but I thought we did an awful lot of good. And we've taken that into this week in practice, and looking forward to going into Waterloo on Friday.
And what have you really seen out of this team? Have you seen some marked improvements over the last couple of weeks, since it's been a while since we've talked? But can you kind of measure the progress this team makes week in and week out?
Yeah, I think we're still continuing to get better. I was watching practice today and, looking at a couple guys and saying, geez, like these guys they just keep getting better. And I think that's a real positive for us. And the big thing for us is to make sure we have enough energy here, going into each weekend, and we'll make sure we have that starting on Friday.
And speaking of the guys, speaking of the players, we have two joining us tonight, as I previously mentioned, Logan Von Ruden at the very far end then, and then Casey Jerry. And Logan, I'll start with you. If you could kind of give us your background and some info on, before you came here to the Rough Riders, kind of your life story before you got here in Cedar Rapids.
Okay. I'm from Northfield, Minnesota. And last year, my senior season in high school, I decided to leave and go play in the North American Hockey League for the Minnesota Magicians. And I ended up playing half a season there, and my coach there, brought up the opportunity for me to come down and play here. So I thought that was the best opportunity for me to develop the way I wanted to develop, and I really liked the idea, so I decided to come down here at Christmas time. And it was a good season last year. I came in injured, so it didn't really help, but I've developed so much so far being here that I've really enjoyed it, and came back again this year, and everything's gone well. I had the injury, but I've continued to improve, and I like all the guys on our team, and it's been a good season so far.
And what got you into the game of hockey? What kind of inspired that or piqued that interest for you?
It just started out being one of those sports that you try as a kid, and at 4 I just tried it and just kind of took off from there. Ended up loving it and haven't really looked back since.
Casey, how about some of your background and for your life story before you got here with the Rough Riders?
Yeah, I'm from Hudson, Wisconsin, and then I played high school hockey in River Falls. It's just kind of like the neighboring city to where I'm from, and I started out here in Cedar Rapids my first year, and then I went down to the North American League with Austin to develop and get stronger, and so I could come back to this league and improve and stuff in games, and this is where I ended up this year, so I'm very happy for it.
You mentioned that going down to a league and then coming back up. What were some of your biggest adjustments coming to the USHL as a player? I usually ask most of the players we have on, but in your mind, what was kind of the biggest thing you had to get used to?
I'd say the size, strength, and speed. speed. I mean, it's still very fast for me, even though like I'm a veteran player, but it's just something you got to adapt to coming into the league and go forward with it from there.
Logan, what was your impression of this organization when you got here with the Rough Riders? What did you think of this team, and maybe how was it different from other teams that you've played on?
This team is just, you can tell everybody cares, from the people in the front office to the coaches. The coaches are great. They work with you, and they've helped me develop so much. I mean, I haven't had a single complaint since being here. So,
Casey, how about you? Thoughts on this organization when you got here with the Rough Riders?
Yeah, it's great. It's like I didn't really know what I was getting into with like junior hockey. I didn't really know much about it, just playing high school in Wisconsin. But ever since I came here, it's been like a really special treat for me, and I love everything about it.
Let's take a moment real quick to talk about future plans, college commitments. Casey, I know in your instance you're going to Minnesota State. What kind of factored into your mind making that decision and deciding to play hockey up there?
I just really love the school, the campus. Coaching staff is great. They got great facilities, and it's really close to home, which it's really nice for me, convenient.
And Logan, what are some of your future goals in the game of hockey, trying to pursue this sport at another level?
I mean, right now, obviously, I'm still trying to get that college commitment, but right now, I mean, I'm just here to help our team win, and that's what I'm focused on. Everything else will come.
Read a really interesting article in the Gazette a while back, particularly about you, Logan, about you and your work ethic. I wondered, where does that work ethic come from, and what kind of motivates you as a player on this team?
I don't know where it's really come from. I'm from a smaller town in Minnesota, so I mean, I've just always had that mentality that I need to be working as hard as I can to get where I want to be, and I don't really want to take a moment off because then you fall behind. So, I mean, and it's the same here. We have so many good players that you take one moment off and then somebody gets ahead of you. So I just always like to work on things so I stay up there.
And according to that article, that also includes some late-night runs or post-practice runs around the concourse and some post-practice lifts, right?
Yeah.
Putting in the extra work. And, Coach, I know in that same article you said something about Logan is really what this league is all about, a guy with a lot of potential and then working to develop. I wonder how fun is it for you as a coach, somebody that gets to see these players day in and day out, to see guys like that work like that and kind of see their development?
Well, I consider myself to be real lucky, and Logan works his tail off. Casey does as well, and with this group this year, we've been real lucky. I mean, this is a group that really works every single day, and they've had a great attitude all year long. And I mean, I've told them this. I mean, I feel fortunate to work with this group of guys, and the attitudes are great. They get after it every single day. They want to get better, and you have your ups and downs like any team does. I mean, that's part of the season, and but we're going to keep plugging here and keep getting better, and I think that's one thing that both these guys have done a real good job of is keeping after it.
Now, the focus on this show for the most part is hockey, but we like to kind of get off the ice for a few questions and kind of get to know these players. I wondered if you guys could kind of let us know what you do and how do you spend your time outside of the game of hockey off the ice. And Casey, I'll start with you. Not only maybe what you enjoy doing, but maybe some of your commitments outside of the game of hockey too.
Yeah, I know every Sunday, me, Andrew Ogilvie, Dylan McLaughlin, we're very avid fishermen, and kind of take pride in that. And I know Ogilvie has kind of introduced us to the longboarding stuff we do, so do that a decent amount, and we're going to get out golfing here.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a description for longboarding. I know Coach needs one for sure.
Oh yeah, it's going to be more of a summer thing, not during the season. So.
And what do you do with longboarding? Is that like surfing?
Yeah, it's just something we do in Ely.
I was just going to ask, where's your guys' preferred spot? Where's the place you guys get away? Someplace in Ely?
Yeah, wherever we stay hidden.
And maybe you don't want to give away your prime fishing spot either?
No, I can't do that.
You're going to keep that one undercover too? Logan, how about you off the ice? What do you like to do? What are some of your commitments or things that you kind of pass your time with?
I mean, I like to fish as well. I haven't fished a lot down here, but I also like to golf, like Casey said. But I usually just end up hanging out with the guys when we have days off and stuff, and whatever we end up doing, we end up doing. Me and Andrew Goss usually end up going to the Lowdown Mall and cruising around there for a little bit every once in a while, but other than that.
Any work too? Yeah, someone just said I work.
Yeah, I work at Cindy Becker, one of the billet parents, her daycare in the mornings, so that's really enjoyable to be around the kids for a little bit every morning. And I do the community service, the Meals on Wheels, which is really rewarding. So I like doing stuff like that as well.
And what's that been like for you to get adjusted not only to a new city in Cedar Rapids, but also you mentioned kind of some of the community aspect, but also having a host family and getting used to a new environment. What's that been like for you as a player?
It's definitely a different situation, but everything's been really smooth. I mean, I started out with a different billet family last year, the Moffats, and then this year, to make room for some high school players, I moved out with the Orrs out in Walford, and I have no complaints. It's been really easy. Love the house. They cook well. Everything's been good.
We've heard all about good food. Do you have a specific favorite dish in mind that you look forward to when you know it's going to get cooked for the night?
I don't know a specific favorite dish, but anything chicken or pasta, I really like that.
Casey, how about you? How's it been with your host family and kind of getting adjusted to that sort of thing? What do you really enjoy about that?
Yeah, I have a great billet brother who I hang out with like at night and stuff, and he's really cool. So, but my billets make me feel really comfortable, and I just feel like I'm at home.
We'll take a real quick break here in between questions just to remind you that we are headed to postseason action, headed toward the playoffs, and playoff tickets are available right now. You can find the order form and all the details online at ridertownusa.com. And I'll kind of use that as a segue into talking about a little postseason action, at least in a sense. And, Coach, I wonder, to you, how important is having home ice in the postseason? Now, I've heard that thrown around here and there a few times about having kind of a home field advantage, home ice advantage, knowing you're going to be able to play at the stable. How important is that for this team? Is that a goal in mind?
Well, I mean, we like to play at home, but at the same time, you've got to be able to win anywhere, especially on the playoffs. I think a good thing about our team, Coop, is, right now when you look at it, we're 19-10 at home or 19-10 on the road. So you got to be able to win anywhere, and, whatever transpires here after this weekend, we'll take it head on and get after it.
Where do you think that balance has come from? It's a pretty mature team, a team that can function just as well at home as on the road?
Well, I think the leadership of our group, I think starting with our captains and the way that they kind of keep things there in the room, and then really just the whole team concept. And, it sounds cliche, but there's just been different guys every night that step up for us. And, we never think we're out of a hockey game and continue to battle if things aren't going smooth. And I think that's been a huge key for us at home and on the road. So we're excited for playoffs. Wherever they start, we'll be ready.
And I'll ask you guys as players, you had some experience on the squad last season with some playoff action. Is there a different atmosphere in playoff hockey? I know usually you hear that there's a little more adrenaline in playoff and postseason action, but I wonder from a player's point of view if that really is the case. And Casey, I'll start with you.
Yeah, just playing in the playoffs in the North American League last year, it's very intense. You can definitely feel it, and with the fans and stuff, it's really a great time.
Logan, how about you as far as playoff action or some postseason play?
Yeah, it's for sure. You can tell the intensity's picked up. I mean, the fans are more into it, and you can just tell everything's more intense because you got to win to keep going. So.
Now, in the game last week against Lincoln, there were a few players, I think, that were quoted in an article with the message, Coach, that you had of no negative energy. It was a message you delivered between periods, I think. I wonder how quickly do you guys, or you as a coach, switch your focus on the next period and kind of leave what's already happened on the ice behind?
Well, I think you kind of take every situation different. Like we said, we've got great leadership with our club here, and I really believe in our guys. And you might have some things on a given night where things don't go your way, or there's a bounce here or there, or what have you, and you stay positive. And we've done that an awful lot this year. That's not to say that we haven't gotten upset at times, but more often than not, we just kind of continue to believe in what we're doing. And there was no raised voices or no negative guys or coaches or anything like that on was that Wednesday night, I think, and the guys were able to go out and come back and win the game 4-3.
Now, how do you as a coach typically utilize that time in between periods, that break time that you have with the team? Usually as a coach, how do you use that?
It depends. It depends on the situation. We try to be a little bit shorter with everything here at this time of year, and it depends on how the game is going and some of the things that you think are necessary to bring up to the guys. But for me, the most important thing is the guys are in there and get a chance to rest, but also stay focused on what we're doing.
And you guys as players, I wonder if you can kind of take us inside the locker room, so to speak, and let us know how you utilize that time in between periods and kind of some of that break time. And Logan, I'll start with you. What do you usually do in between periods?
Obviously, rest up, get ready for the next period, and I just try and keep my mind focused on what I need to do to help the guys and what I need to do my next shift to make an impact on the game.
Casey, how about you?
Yeah, I usually, first I'll head over to the Gatorade station, hydrate up, and then usually I just like sit and focus on what's going to happen next in the second period or third period, and I know our captains are doing a really good job of just like keeping us focused on what's coming next. So
This isn't something I brought up in a few weeks, but I know a couple weeks ago we were talking about an article that we got in the Gazette, pretty good coverage from the Gazette on the Rough Riders about players and how particular they can be about their sticks, about how they prepare their sticks, how they get ready for games and that sort of thing. Casey, do you have any sort of routines you go through or a special way you like your stick done or special work that you do in between games or even maybe in between periods?
Yeah, I just switched from white tape to black tape, and I just kind of like it right now, and sometimes I'll spray paint my stick, for good luck. But
So is that kind of a superstition for you?
yeah, a little bit.
Logan, how about you? How do you prepare your stick for game action?
Usually just throw some black tape on the blade and maybe spray paint it before, but otherwise nothing too outrageous.
Different players, different methods. Coach, if you look at the website, it's pretty easy to see on there on the top banner a few words that seem to stick out. We have respect, we have passion, we have desire, sportsmanship, commitment, and integrity. I wonder if you could kind of give us an idea where those values come from for you, and how do you think this year's team really kind of embodies those type of values that you bring forward as a coach?
Well, I think those were decided upon by the organization, and I think they're great. I think for us this year, we've talked an awful lot about respect and earning respect as a team, and also as an individual, person and player with the things that you do on a daily basis, whether it's on or off the ice. That one of the best things that you can do as a player or as a person is earn the respect of your teammates, and I think that's been a great lesson for us, and it's been an important part of our season.
We've talked week in and week out about some coaches' philosophies, how he views the game. I wonder, as you guys as players, what's the biggest thing or maybe things that you've taken away from Coach Carlson in your time here with the Rough Riders? Logan, I'll start on your end.
Something I've really taken away is just the work aspect of it. He always preaches that, somebody else out there is working just as hard as you, if not harder, so you want to be that guy that's doing something extra, like I said before, to get ahead of those people. But also, like you were just talking about, the respect aspect and discipline and stuff like that, it just holds us all accountable, and it makes us push ourselves harder to be better for the team and to be better for ourselves.
Casey, how about you as a player? Have there been things specifically that you've taken away from Coach and your time with this organization?
Yeah, pretty much exact same thing Logan said, and a really big thing that I take out is like just toughness, something I can still keep working on too, and something that like everyone can add to their game, and it's really what I take out of it.
We talk about development and we talk about player success, and a pretty impressive stat. 7 former Rough Riders were in the NCAA's Frozen Four a few weeks ago. Coach, I wonder what's that mean to you as a coach to see those players that you've coached develop and go on to success at the collegiate level?
Well, I think it's great. I think it's, I keep saying how fortunate I am, but it's just a cool thing to see. I can't wait till tomorrow night. The 2 games are on tomorrow, and I had somebody send me a picture, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, I guess, or a week ago when Boston University played Yale in the NCAAs, and there just happened to be a picture right at center ice with only Kason Holman and Tommy Fallon in the photo, and it's just cool stuff. Both guys are captains on there. Tommy's a captain at Yale, and Kason was one of the assistants at Boston University, and just pretty cool stuff.
And how about you guys, when you see the success of former players that you know have played for the Rough Riders, what's that do for you as a player kind of working your way up in this organization? Casey, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's very inspirational. Like just watching like the college games and stuff, it's so exciting. Just seeing former Rough Riders and stuff too, it's pretty cool to take out of that.
Logan, how about you as far as, do you have maybe a favorite NHL player or a team or someone that you kind of look up to and kind of inspires you or you try to emulate your game after?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite team is Minnesota Wild. But I'd have to say my favorite player right now is probably Shea Weber. Really like how he plays the game, and I mean, I just kind of look at him and try and do some of the things he does.
Casey, how about you as a player, somebody that you kind of look up to in the NHL or in the higher ranks that you maybe try to pattern your game off of or look up to?
I like watching Jonathan Taves. He's a really fun player to watch. Great leadership, too. And I know one of the players on our team sent out an article last night on Jonathan Taves, and it talked about his just leadership and like how good of a center he is and all the little stuff that he does.
Now, this being your second year actually with the Rough Riders, you're kind of an experienced veteran on the squad, especially with players that kind of move in and out of the program. Have you taken a bit of a leadership role this season with the team, in your mind, Casey?
Yeah, I think everyone can take up a leadership role. Like, I don't think like we have any like non-leaders on our team. I think that's what makes our team successful is when everyone can show leadership and pride in the organization.
And Logan, I think you mentioned earlier in the show that you joined this team last year at the mid-season mark. What was that transition like for you as a player coming in to this organization kind of in the middle of the season like that?
It was for sure. It was like a big step for me. I mean, coming from the North American League, there's obviously differences, like Casey said, the speed, the size, just the ability of the players. But, I mean, they made it so smooth overall, just the coaches and everybody here that works with the organization. So it was overall very easy.
And, Coach, at this point of the season, we hope that there's a lot more season left for the Rough Riders, especially when we hit postseason action. But I wonder, at this point, when you look back as a coach, what will you kind of remember and maybe admire most about this squad that you've had this year?
Just the team, the team. I mean, it's a special group, and they've never been intimidated by anything. They've responded to so many challenges. They never quit. They get along. I mean, there's close to 20 of them here tonight. And it's a special group, and we want to keep playing for a long, long time.
And guys, as we kind of close out on the regular season here, I wonder if you guys have some memories that stick out of this year that you really think are kind of at the forefront of your mind, or things that you really had fun with this season. Casey, I'll start with you.
Oh, man. I remember we had a stretch where the USA guys were playing for up in Canada, and then we played Fargo, and we had a good comeback, and it was really fun just winning the shootout and stuff. Thought it was a good team game.
Logan, how about you? A memory or something that sticks out, or maybe a few things that stick out from this season?
It's a tough one. I mean, like Casey said, the Fargo game for sure was a big one because it just showed our toughness, our resilience, and just how we came together as a team to pull out the win. But I think any game like that is always good because it just really shows what we can do as a team.
And Logan, a quick Google search of your name this afternoon brought up a video promoting last year's Romance at the Rink night. From my standpoint, I really wanted to know how much convincing did it take for you to shoot that video and actually have to get on air or get on camera and do that?
Well, I mean, I don't really think I had a choice. I just kind of had to do it. But at first I was kind of a little nervous, I guess I'd say, but I just did it, and now it's up there for everybody to see. So,
Casey, speaking of theme nights, if you had your choice, is there something you'd like to see the Rough Riders do with a theme night that you either haven't seen done yet or you really liked the first time around?
Maybe like a fisherman night,
I can't remember that one being done. Coach, are you familiar if that's been done or not?
No, I don't think it's been done yet. No.
So there you go. We could have a fisherman night with the Rough Riders. Coach, it's not uncommon to have some NHL scouts in the crowd for a game. I wondered, as a coach, I've asked you before how much interaction you have with colleges and college scouts, but I wonder how much interaction either during the season or in the off season do you have with NHL scouts or people that are interested in the players on your squad, on your team?
Well, quite a bit. Especially this year, due to the way these guys have played. There's been a lot of NHL personnel following this team around on the road and at home. So, that's going to continue the rest of the way. I think it's a great testament to our players here and to our team. And I also think it's great for our guys to play in front of scouts in this league on a nightly basis. It's a great opportunity for them and something that's going to help them down the road.
When I listen to the players that come on this program that we've had week in and week out, there really seems to be a strong bond, a lot of friendships on this team. Usually when I ask questions about what players do in their time off the ice, they always reference at least a couple other players. I wonder how strong the friendships are on this team and will you guys kind of keep in touch even when you leave the Rough Riders? And Logan, I'll start with you.
For sure. I think we'll all keep in touch. I mean, the friendships on this team are incredible. I mean, we all enjoy each other's presence and we all hang out, so I think it's really good. I think we'll stay in touch.
Casey, how about you, friendships and bonds that you've made on this team?
Yeah, I think there'll be like friendships forever. I know like I'll keep in touch with almost like every guy in this team like years down the road because we've developed such a strong bond and we just had a bunch of fun. So,
speaking of friendship and team camaraderie, as we kind of wrap up here in the closing minutes, had several players on this year, and I want to get the opinion from you guys as long as we're wrapping up. Best ping pong player on this Rough Riders team. Casey, I'll start with you. Your opinion. Let's get this down to brass tacks.
I mean, hands down, Dylan McLaughlin. You know, you can't beat the kid. He's way too good.
Okay, and Logan, on your end, who you got?
It's for sure not me, so I'm going to have to go with Dylan McLaughlin as well.
Wow. That's as much consensus as we've had on that since we actually had Dylan himself on the show the 1 week. As we wrap things up here in the closing minutes, I'll ask, we go into this weekend, the first game on the docket is at Waterloo, so we'll look at the next game up on the docket. And Logan, I'll just ask your thoughts as you head in here to the last weekend of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we're just focused on Friday, so, I mean, we're just ready to go for Friday, get the job done there, and then we'll move on to Saturday, but right now we're just focused on Friday.
Casey, similar thoughts when you guys go up to Waterloo on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, we're both just focused on Friday. I think, it'll be a really fun game.
And Coach, as we wrap up this regular season and wrap up this show, I'll kind of give the final word to you and the final thoughts on this season overall, and especially as you head into this weekend.
It's been a great group, as I keep saying, and the best is yet to come.
Guys, once again, thanks for coming out. Not only Coach, but also the players that we've had join us throughout the season. We've been doing this, as I mentioned, the third Wednesday in January, and now all the way up through the second Wednesday of April. Over 2.5 months of this show, and it's really been a pleasure to have you guys on, and thanks for making the time for us each and every week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also thanks to the crowd for coming out. We've had some really solid crowds throughout this season. I know the time of year that we tape or that we shoot this show or broadcast it, I mean, we go through some winters, we go through some bad weather, but you guys have made it out week in and week out, and we really appreciate that. I know it means a lot to the team as well, as we've kind of taken the chance to get to know these players and this organization week in and week out, and we've really appreciated that. And I also want to thank the Union Station for having us each and every week for this Lowdown on Ridertown. A final reminder that this podcast of this final show, along with all the other podcasts from this season, can be found at krna.com. And upcoming games for the Rough Riders, we talked about Friday up at Waterloo, and then Saturday is the final home game of the regular season at the Stable against Chicago. That also happens to be Fan Appreciation Night. First 2,500 fans receive a free rally towel from the Riders and ITC Midwest. And also, it's going to be a concession stand special, $2 beer, soda, and popcorn. So get on out this weekend, support the Rough Riders. All the best in the postseason as they head into playoff action. And once again, thanks for coming out for the Lowdown on Ridertown. Thanks.